Okay, can we talk English from now on? Good. Last week we talked about uh, configuration options, config options for Kubernetes applications, and we saw that we can use config maps and for configuration that does not require any kind of security and secrets, which for configuration that should not be easily visible for humans or whoever looks at the Kubernetes cluster, beside the persons that should have permission to see them. And we show that I showed you that we use how can we use environment variable from both config maps and secrets? How can we mount the configuration into the pod from both config maps and secrets? And then we moved into deployment ways of deploying application into Kubernetes. And we talked about basic manifest type of deployments, where we are just running kubectl apply -f and the file, and we are deploying them. And we talked about deploying via Helm chart, and showed you a few commands how to manage Helm charts, how to list the repositories, how to list the deployed applications, how to install, how to remove, how to upgrade. Any questions about that? Okay, so next way of deploying stuff in Kubernetes is via customize. And what is customize? It's a tool for customizing Kubernetes manifest without modifying the original YAML files. It uses a declarative approach, allowing you to manage variation of deployments easily. Emphasize that it customizes, it's built-in into the kubectl. Therefore, for the earliest version of kubectl, you had to install it separately, but nowadays kubectl has it built-in. So it is a part of the Kubernetes ecosystem. Why it is we are using it. It is because it's easier to manage different environments like dev, staging, production with variation in resources, replicas, and resource limitations and configuration. It can create. We can reuse the code base YAML files that can be located either on our local system, or we can use it directly from a repository. It doesn't have templating, and it is a GitOps option. The main benefit of customize versus Helm chart, it would be that Helm, it uses a templating. If you have variations between different environments, like a development environment or staging environment, have stuff that are not in production, Helm would not be able to keep to track those changes, because for Helm the charts are template should be templated, and the template is not easily configurable. While on customize, you can use different, we will see in a minute, we will see we can use different configuration, different variations of the main manifest depending on the different environment that we are using. And with that, let's jump into the share my screen. Everyone can see my screen.
Yeah.
So as you can see, I have created a folder called course number 5. And as you can see in this folder, we have two folders. One is a base and one is a overlays. And let's look at the base. The base folder contains some manifest files, and then contains something that we didn't see yet, which is a customization YAML. Let's see what's in the customization YAML. And in the customization YAML, we are telling, okay, which resources should be deployed by default and where. So we are using resources. We should deploy the deployment.yaml, service.yaml, config mapping YAML, and do it on the namespace prod. No, let's say get kubectl get what I supposed to clean this up, but I did not have time. So kubectl delete kubectl.
Can you please zoom a little more?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes. Thank you.
So with customize, we are just using kubectl apply and probably base. And this will tell you that, okay, use -k, that it means that use customize. Read the customization.yaml and deploy whatever is deployed in the customization YAML in here. 1 second. Base customization. I was playing with it and I did not clean it up. And of course, I did not clean it up, so it has deployed. It didn't change anything, but on the default database, I have also my Prometheus stuff in here. It has deployed a config map, kubectl get config maps, nginx config. It has deployed a service called nginx kubectl get svc. It has deployed a service. It's a simple cluster IP service, and it has deployed one deployment that is called nginx, and we see it in here. If you want, I can kubectl deployment nginx kubectl delete svtc nginx kubectl delete config map. What was the config map name? Nginx config. Okay, right now I shouldn't have anything. But so we don't have any nginx, any service nginx, any deployment, and kubectl apply minus kbase. It just deploys everything. Config map, it has this data config.json, kubectl, this guy, cm nginx config that has exactly this data, and kubectl get pods minus kubectl get pod, and as you can see, the config map is not mounted and not used anywhere apparently, because I did not create that. So yeah, we are using nginx latest, and this is the base image. Now, if you are looking at the overlays, in here we have two different folders. One is dev and one is prod. Let's take a look into dev, and we only see the customization.yaml. And let's see what we can do in here. In the customization.yaml on base, we see that we are using the resources of the base. So these are the main manifest. And then it says, okay, add the prefix dev for all the resources that you are going to deploy. And patch the deployment that is called nginx, and with the operation replace, and make the replicas, increase the replicas to 2. And since you are there, also use the tag 1.19 instead of the latest. And now kubectl apply -k overlay dev. And we see the config map was created, I don't know why, service and get pods. Let's see what's changed. What's changed? It has changed that the Nginx, as you could see here, I screwed up. Anyways, yeah, I already had this dev Nginx deployed, so it has deployed two new pods with Nginx with the prefix dev. And if you are kubectl describe pod, you can see that the image is 1.9. And let's take a look. Let's go to hub.docker.com and look for Nginx. Let's see. I see that the 1.27.4 is the latest tech. So let's update it. Vim overlays dev customization. We are updating 1.7, 1.27. Let's apply again. And now you can see that the config map has unchanged, not changed. The service hasn't changed, but the deployment has been configured. And if we list the pods were created 15 and 17 seconds ago. kubectl describe pod. Oh, the Nginx image tag has changed to 1.27.4. Okay, now let's look what we have in the production. In the production, we have a config.json, add namespace.yaml, and the customization.yaml. Let's see each file what it does. This is a simple YAML that it only has this max connection changed. Otherwise, it's the same as the config map that we already have. Namespace.yaml is a simple manifest to create a namespace.prod. And the customization YAML, it has the same resources. It tells you what is the base. But in here we have this name. It also tells the okay, run also this namespace.yaml and add the namespace clean prefix as a pod. Also, we are telling that, okay, patch the deployment that has the name nginx and replace the number of replicas with 5. Run the whole thing in the namespace production, use nginx latest, and create the nginx.config map. As you can see, we have a config map generator in the namespace prod from the config file config.json. And let's apply this one. As usually, I always have something not working. Let's see what's not working. Yeah, no, it's what the problem. The problem is that in the base, I'm supposed to uncomment some other stuff. I'm supposed to uncomment this and comment this one. Okay, so the namespace production was created, the config map prod nginx config, and it has a hash. If we are using a config map generator, it will create a dynamic config map which has the dynamic hash that was created. The service prod nginx was created, and the deployment prod nginx was created as well. kubectl get all minus n prod, and you can see we have five pods as we asked for. We have the service prod nginx, we have a deployment prod nginx, and kubectl get cn minus n prod. We have the config map Get cn. With the JSON file as a content that we used. kubectl describe pod. Let's look at one of the pods. Minus and prod. Okay, we have volumes. We have mounted the config.json type from type config map. This is the name of the config map. We have mounted it into user share nginx html config.json. So if we are executing it, you can see that the config map is inside the pod. Now, let's change a bit the overlay production config.json. And let's see, what do we add in here? What to add? Compression type doesn't need to be necessarily a valid option. Okay. We did not change anything on the customize, you only change the config.json. And we are running again kubectl apply minus k over lace pod. And we have seen that the config map, it has generated a new config map, and the deployment was configured as well. And we are seeing that all the ports were installed 19 seconds ago. Why did this happen? kubectl get cm. As you can see, it has created a new config map. With the new values that we have just configured in the config file. And if we are looking at the ctl kubectl exec minus ci pod. As you can see, the new config map was mounted into the pod as we wanted. The same thing works exactly as it supposed to have it right now, is with secret map generators. Uh, any questions? No questions?
No.
No.
Uh, let's say if I give you a homework that find an application or write an application that has a multiple part of it, like let's say you find a MySQL Helm chart, uh, write a deployment to use, for example, WordPress, with services and everything, and tie the MySQL to the WordPress. And for deploying the WordPress, use customize. Would be okay. At least give it a try.
Instead of WordPress, can we use anything else, or does it have to be WordPress?
No, you can use anything. You can use Drupal or anything else. Doesn't make sure. I was just thinking about WordPress because I know there is a Docker image for WordPress already existing. But you can use whatever you want. You can even not use MySQL. If you are more experienced with PostgreSQL, use PostgreSQL. I don't really care. As long as it's a database that talks to an application and the application can be accessed. Let's make the application accessible from the internet so that the application would not use cluster IP, even if we know that we have a problem with kind, with accessing the IPs from the nodes. But actually, that's not a problem. Did you try that cloud kind controller? Any of you?
I did not.
No.
I would suggest give it a try because I have tried it, and out of 5 tries, 3 times it was working. Twice I didn't manage to make it work. So it might work or it might not work, but once it was on my Mac, and the second time it was on my Linux computer.
So it's called Cloud Kind Controller.
Yeah, if you are going to the kind website, kind.6.case.io, you click on the load balancer, and it is a cloud provider kind. It has this link,
Okay.
and it takes you to a GitHub repository from where you can get the latest release. It's written in Go, but they already give you the binaries for it. Okay, next week we will talk about Kubernetes operators and CRDs, and after that about some GitOps way of deploying stuff. And with that, I think we can conclude the DevOps course. Unless you will have some questions, I would really urge you, if you have any kind of questions, to ask. From my point of view, there are no stupid questions. There are only just questions that were not answered yet. So don't be afraid of asking, even if you're not sure that you're asking it correctly. You're asking the right thing. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, if you don't have any other questions, then we can conclude this session.
Can you also write down again the homework?
Yeah, sure. I will write it down in the Discord channel. Okay, let's stop the recording.